So today I'm going to talk about Git commands for the audience of software developers. Just so that we're clear, I'm not going to cover off the setup of how to set up Git. To be honest, the reason for this is that there are a lot of options, and particularly if you're in Windows like I am, you can just choose from one of the many options that are available to you. And what I'm going to suggest is that you go and find one of those, and there'll be a tutorial that's associated with it. Good options are Git for Windows, Tortoise Git, and I really rate Git Kraken. Have a look and see what you can find. We're also going to talk about some basics, an intro to Git itself and where it came from. I'm going to talk through some commands that you can use for remotes, some commands dealing with branches, some other special stuff that I've had to learn to get stuff done, and then finally we're going to just sum up at the end of this. So Git is open source software. It was started by Linus Torvalds of Linux fame. It's one of two projects that he started, and he still maintains the first one, which is Linux, but he's handed Git off to another software developer who maintains Git. It is a distributed source control system, and what that means is that you can keep your source code and your history and distribute that and all of that information to other software developers. The main way that we do that nowadays is via a centralized hub. So GitHub, GitLab, Bitbucket, those are the kinds of places where you go to host your Git repositories. But honestly, you don't have to do it that way. There are other mechanisms you can use. You can just keep it on a file system, on a network drive if you wanted. I believe that Git still has a command that you can just spin up and it'll self-host. There are still some other source control systems out there, but Git has eaten the world. There are specialist ones. I think that if you're dealing with content, then there are better ones that are better at dealing with binaries and with large amounts of data. And I know that Subversion is still active in that space, but there are actually industry-geared content management systems which work very similar to source control systems, but they're not the distributed source control systems like it. It's very flexible, and I guess why I'm saying this is that I'm just going to be talking about some of the commands that I use regularly, but there is a hell of a lot of stuff that you can do with this tool, and if you want to learn about it, you've got to go and read the docs, or and it's really well documented. There are lots of different mirrors of the documentation, so if you go and have a look, you'll be able to find what you need. So these are the basic commands that you will probably find yourself using day to day. And I'm going to try and demo them for you. So let's just see how that goes. So I've got an empty directory here. there is nothing in it. But one thing that you can do with a git repository, so if I do get anything in here, so git commit, it's not a git repository. But say we were to create a file here, so I'm just going to test.txt, which will echo hello to test.txt. Okay, so now we've got something in here, and if we said git init, okay, well now we've got a git repository. And you can do things like say git log, and there's no revisions yet. But one of the first things you probably want to do is to add a file. So if we wanted to add this text file to our git repository, we would start with git add text.txt. And if you then get git status, it will tell you what's going on, and you will see that that file has been added to or staged, ready to be committed. And you could even say git diff on our staged files, and we can now see that there are differences there. Text is actually in the. Oh, this is right. So we can now commit that file, test.txt, and what will, git commit. And what will often happen by default is it will bring up your text editor and it will ask you for a commit message. And we could use this text editor to make our commit message. We could exit out of it and it will cancel out. So it's aborting there, it says. And another way that we could do a commit with a commit message is the hello message, is to add it on the command line there. So git commit with a commit message, and I'm committing test.txt. And it's done that now. So if I now do git log, we'll now see one commit in the git history there, and you'll see that develop is the name of the branch that we have there. So we could actually make another change there. The file is called test.txt. We could vi test.txt. Actually, code test.txt. Sometimes I forget where I am. Okay, so it says hello, and we might say change that to not who's there. Git who. Git what? No joke. And okay, so okay, we've got something different there. If we were to say git diff, we would now see that there are changes. And actually, it wants that to be a binary file, which is confusing to me. Code, well, why does it want that to be binary? It is saying that that is a 0 element. Interesting. Confusing. Oh, it's UTF-8. Okay, save with encoding UTF-8. that is why it's confused. Alright. And what I think that I'm going to do is I'm just going to redo my original commit, but I'm going to amend it. Okay, great. And now what we'll see in the history here, git log, is we've still only got one commit message there, and I think that what we'll do is we'll try changing that file that we've got there now, and we'll say doctor instead, which is also not a great joke. And if we go to git diff here, we can see what has been removed and what has been added. And the reason that we couldn't see that before is that we had a binary file as far as git was concerned, because it was UTF-8, but now it's UTF-16, and now it's UTF-8. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go git add, and we're just going to say add everything in this directory now. Git status, and we can see that we've got a modified file there that it knows about, test.txt, and we're going to commit that committed a and now we can see the log. We've got 2 revisions there. And actually, one of the things you can do when you're showing the log is you can show the graph, and it's not a very detailed graph at the moment, but you can see that we've got that little asterisk and some vertical bars there, and another asterisk that shows the start of the graph and the current revision that we're on. All right. So we're going to move on to git checkout now, and actually I'm going to talk a bit about branches. Maybe I'll talk about branches first. So you can git branch and give a branch a name, a new branch. And if we say git log now, you can see that we've got 2 branches there. We've got head pointing to develop and new branch. So that has created a branch called new branch, but we're still on develop. We can switch to that branch by going git checkout new branch. And if we go git log now, you can see that we're now with our head at new branch. Interesting, you could also git checkout the revision by commit revision hash, and you'll get this nice little message that says that you have no head. If we go git log, well, we can only see that one. You can actually say git log with all of the revisions there, and even graph, and you can see where you are. So it's a bit like a map, detached head. Okay, so we're going to actually, while we're here, we could git checkout with a new branch name, and we give it a name old develop log, and you can see that we're on a branch called old develop, and we can see all of the revisions now. We've got the new ones over there. We've got the current branch that we're on, and the other branches that we created. So I'm going to check out develop again, which is where we really want it to be. Git check out develop. We're on develop branch now, git log, and we can say 1 line just to make it a little bit tidier, and we can see where we are. Alright, So that's branches, adding. You can also remove. So log get, no, we want get rm test.txt, get log, get status. Okay, so it's deleted that text file from our working directory, but actually it still exists in the index. And that's probably what you want in most cases, in case you want to go back and find an old file that you deleted. And actually what we're going to do is we're going to get commit in deleted file and git log. Right, so we're now on develop, showing the graph. We're on develop. We deleted a file. We've got an old file, old branch there, old develop branch there, and an old new branch there as well. Why they called branches was because they can branch like a tree, and I'm going to show you how that looks. What we're going to do is we're going to go and check out new branch. And actually, I think in most modern versions of Git, you can use a command called switch instead. Git switch new branch. This is essentially like checking out a branch. It's the same thing. There's other things that you can check out. You can check out files. And you will note that this file here has been changed now. If we want, it's restored rather. Git, I'll just code text.txt, and we will change that file again. That's what we expected there. And what true software developers walk into a ice cream shop. No punchline. Sorry. Git log status, and you can see that it's changed there. But we could say git check out test.txt status, and we can see that it's clean. So if you cats test.txt, actually it's still backward in the state that we started with. So that's the other thing that you can do is check out. You can check out branches, you can check out a new branch, and you can check out files. The other thing, revisions, check out tags. There might actually be other things that you can check out. If you read the docs, you'll find them. Okay, so we've talked about git, add, commit, push, pull. We haven't talked about push and pull, and we're going to talk about those later. Okay, I think that it's time for us to move on. Okay, so dealing with remotes. So firstly, if you want to use Git with other developers, you're going to want to share your code. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get github.com, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new repository. And there are instructions here, but actually we're just going to call this tutorial build, and I'm just going to create it. And it gives you instructions on how you can import this from. So we've got an existing repository. What we're going to do is we're just going to add this remote to it, and we're going to call that origin. What would happen is normally is what you would do is you'd clone a repository, but if you're creating a new one, then you can use git remote add. Okay, so we've got git remote there, and we can go git push, and we might even set the upstream, so we're going to say git push set upstream origin for this branch, and we're going to, I think, with the branch that we, actually, which branch were we on? Status. We are on new branch git push set upstream origin new branch, and it's going to ask me for some info, and then it's going to push it up to the branch, and now if we refresh it, we'll be able to see our text file here, and actually we'll be able to see the history as well somewhere. Code. You got me. 2 comments. There we go. So we can see the revision graph there. Committed a change. Hello message. And that's the old version. So that's how you push your code to a central repository. What will often happen is that you will also want to, so we talked about remote, and we just set up a remote there. We talked about origin, which is often what Git will automatically create a remote called origin if you use the git clone command. And actually, why don't we just do that? So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to step out of that repository there, and we're going to clone the code, and I'm using SSH, but you can also use different other ways of doing it. So HTTPS is very popular, and it looks like GitHub, actually they have their own command line there, so consider using that. So you can git clone something or other, and that's going to create a new repository called tutorial form review tutorial. And you'll see that it's got a branch there, git log org, and it's put us on the new branch. Now you will note that we've only pushed the one branch though. Alright, going back to push, pull, so we just did a clone. A pull is like a clone, but on a repository that you already have, and what we're going to do is we're going to simulate that by making a change to this repo, and what we're going to do is we're just going to say test this. Okay, that looks fine. Get diff. Okay, so that's the change that we made. Just add everything, get status, and we can see that it's there, and we can go do a git diff again, and notice if we do a git diff, there's no changes there, but we can actually do a diff of the stage changes, and we can see that there. And actually, what's probably relevant here is that I could do a further change. Something and go git diff. So these are the changes that are in the working directory, but these are the changes that are staged and ready to be committed. And you'll go status. You will see that we've got a modified change in the staged, and we also have a change in the working directory. So when we say git commit in my new change, It will make that change, and we can see that we've still got that change there, where we added something after we'd already added the change. So I'm just going to check that out. Now we have no changes. Get log. And we can see that we've got a new change on our branch, and notably you can see that we've got the origin new branch there, which is the state of new branch in our repository that we talked about before, this one here in GitHub, sorry. So were we to look at the commits, we would, so we only see these two revisions here, not the one that are committed. And that is the difference between a commit and a push. Were I to say get push now, it's going to keep track of the upstream branch that's associated with this branch, and it's going to push it to the origin by default. And if we load this again now, this is here in the centralized repository. Great. So I guess we could go back to our other repository now, and we could try pulling dot. Okay, so if we get log here, we can see that, okay, we still don't have a new branch. But one thing that we could do is get fetch from origin by default, and if we now go get log all, okay, well now we can see the branches at origin. Which is the one that's in the cloud. And notably, you'll see that develop has diverged from that new branch. Okay, so fetch will get the revisions from the far end, from the remote repository, in this case origin, but it won't update your index for your own branches, your local branches, or your working directory. But if we go get pull now, get pull, it's going to first it's going to fetch, which it didn't need to in this case, but once it's fetched, it's going to move the branch, and if we look at all of them, we can see that now that we're pointing to the new branch from origin. And you'll notice that we are also still diverged from develop. Alright, so we have push, pull, fetch, and I'm going to show you how to force push. This is helpful in some circumstances. If you're working on a branch that you know nobody else has, a force push is like deleting the branch, recreating it with different commits, different revisions. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to get, I might just make a change first, code dot, add a new file, new thing.txt. Whoops. Dot status is minute something about really caring push. Okay, great. So that's now at this end. it's in the centralized repository, but actually I've changed my mind. I think that probably wipes is what I meant. So yeah, I'm gonna change that. I might just git commit with and I mean there deliberately. Yes, I did mean it with 2 dashes, sorry. And you will see that we no longer have the accidental commit there, and what we're going to do is we're going to git push with force on the end, and what that's going to do is it's just going to replace the branch in GitHub there. So the revisions there are going to be different now. So use some common sense when you're doing this. If there are a lot of people who have your branch, then force pushing and changing history is going to probably wreck that day. But if it's like in a lot of workflows, you're going to be working on a branch that only you care about and have. So making changes, squashing changes and stuff is totally acceptable. So just keep that in mind when you're using force push. Right. So actually we talked about cutting from an existing revision. We talked about switching to a branch and checking out branches. And now I think we should talk about merging branches, which will segue well into our next topic. What we're going to do is we're going to use the git merge command. And the branch that actually will git log all graph. And like we talked about before, our develop branch there has diverged from new branch. So we're asking for trouble now, but I'm going to show you what trouble looks like. So git merge develop. And so git is now complaining that we have a merge conflict, which is what I wanted to talk about next. So merging is great. It's a way that you can merge separate pieces of logic together, separate branches, separate features, and it works really well when you're working with other developers and working on distinct pieces of logic which are not in the same files. But if you use this software for a long period of time on a large project, eventually, or even small projects with lots of people, you're eventually going to run into a merge conflict. And how you deal with that is that, well, you're going to have to deal with the merge conflict. So what I'm going to show you is what that looks like. You will have seen it, and it won't be frightening to you the first time you see it. Okay, wipes hasn't changed. That's same, but we've got this file test.txt, and it's got a merge conflict. Actually, in this case, the merge conflict is that it was deleted from one of the revisions. So that's actually pretty easy to deal with. We're just going to say, I'm going to keep our version. And now there's no conflict. There's no change. There's just our modified copy there. And if you say diff or status, we are in the middle. It says, what are we saying? Git commit to. We use git commit to complete the merge. We're still on the merge. We need to finish the merge before we do anything else. So git add dot git commit. Okay, great. And we had merge conflicts, and it wants us to use a message here, git commit message, but it's got a default message there, merge develop into a new branch, which is exactly what happened. We could make some changes here if we wanted to, but we don't have to. And I'm going to save that. If you save log, you'll be able to see the new revision there. And actually, relevantly, if you look at the revision graph, you'll see that it has two parents now, because we've merged the two branches together. Okay. There are some gnarlier merges that could happen, and maybe I think that we'll just show you how that looks. So I'm going to check out one new branch called branch 1, and we are going to make a change on that branch. Which is going to change that to a question mark. Yes, that's probably fine. Yes. Status. Okay, we've got one change. Get commit with message. There were no changes. We actually have to say that add to make the changes. Status. Alright, log. Okay, so we're now on a branch 1. We've changed something. This is like a feature branch. Maybe you want to put this to the side for a bit, and you go and check out the main branch. So we're going to check out new branch, and you'll see that we're now on new branch, and we'll check out a new other branch called branch 2. Status, and we're now on branch 2, and if you let's type out that log all graph. So we're on branch 2, and you can see branch 1 there, which is different to the branch that we're on. We're going to make a change, code dot, and I think that we might just say doctor, and there's fine print somewhere. I might just change that line. Okay, and save that, and I'm going to commit that, and done. Cool. Okay. Now, typically, how this would work is that you've made changes on your feature branches. You want to merge them back in your main one. So I'm going to check out. Let's look at all of the revisions there, and the bigger the project you get, the more difficult it will be to see everything. But you will see that we've got several branches here, and what I'm just going to do is check out develop. And let's merge branch 1, which went really smoothly. Great. And now we're going to get push. So that's going to put the develop branch on GitHub, which is great. And now we're going to merge branch 2. There's conflicts there, and this is what a merge conflicts looks like. So you will see some extra stuff there in that file, and notably, you'll see the head indicator there, the line with all of the equality signs, and the end indicator with branch 2. So we're on develop, Branch 1 isn't participating here because we've already merged it, but branch 2 is the one that we're merging in, which is the incoming change, and we need to somehow decide what this branch should look like. Now, one of the options that we could do is just choose one or the other, and in Visual Studio Code, that's one of the easy things that you can do. The other option that you can do is to manually resolve the conflicts, which is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to say, actually, I meant that, and save it. And when you look at the changes, you will see that, okay, quite a few things have changed. These are things that have come in from the other branch, but this is what the actual change that we're planning to commit is. And I think we can do that. Get status, get commit, and will give us a default comment there, which is mentioning the branches. And success. Get log, and we'll see that develop is ahead of origin develop, and maybe we want to push it to the far end. Get push. All right. Great. We've got some changes there now, and I think that one of the things that I think that I should probably show you is rebase, which is another way of dealing with branches. But let's just contrive a scenario for it, and I'll tell you how to use it. So get check out base 1. We are calling that base 1. Why don't we just create it? We didn't want that. Code dot. And we just want to, why don't we change this file here, hello there, which is great. I always forget to add my files before committing, but that's fine because there's not a lot of risk happening. So we've added a new, and actually, do you know what? I've made a mistake here. I'm going to, what I want to do, I really wanted to put that on branch 2 instead of branch, instead of develop. So what we're going to do is we're going to get rebase develop branch 2. And if we say get log all, and it's probably helpful if we show the graph. So you can see now that base 1 is actually off branch 2 instead of off, I'll show, instead of off develop there. Actually I still made a mistake because develop and branch 2 are the same branch. Okay, let's actually try that once more. Rebase branch 2 branch 1. Do you know what? I think that I got confused there because I rebased the branch instead. So instead, I wanted to get rebased to new branch as one new branch. There we go. All right, moving on. There are some special activities that you'll probably find helpful. Cherry picking, squashing, reverting, resetting, and squashing commits. So cherry pick is handy if you want to move one change from one branch to another, and actually after all of that change, I don't know if I still have diverting branches, but maybe we can create one. If we check out Alright, so we've got and actually it's probably helpful if we just save two branches instead of all. We've got git log branch x and branch y. Okay, so they're diverged branch. We've got branch YY checked out at the moment. What we're going to do is we're going to make a change. Test 1. Actually, just to make it easier, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a new file. Test. Rename test pre.txt. We'll put something in here. Hello there. Alright. Save that. Put a new file there, get add status, and we're going to commit that. Okay. We're going to show the two logs again. So we've got our new test commit on a new branch. And actually, what happens if you wanted to put it on branch XX as well? Well, you can use a cherry pick for that. So let's check it out. And first of all, I'm just going to save this commit hash. Git check out branch XX, and we can now get cherry pick version number, and it's made the same change there. So if we were to say this code test pre.txt, actually it's come over from the other branch. If we look at the history, we will see that actually we have two of the identical revision there. One on our new branch with a different commit hash, but actually it's got the same content and same content and same file name and whatnot. Alright, but maybe we didn't want to do that, so I think that now's a good time to show you how to revert a commit. So here's revert, and we give you the same revision there, and what it will do is it will it's asking for a commit message, which we've got that, that's fine. Log, and it's automatically added. Do you remember I talked a little bit about force pushes and updating history? Well, this is a way of backing out changes without breaking history. If you use git revert, it'll revert your change that you've just made and put in a new revision to roll back that change. So preserving the history. And if you, okay, so the new file that we created by cherry picking the other file from the other branch is now gone. Okay, so where are we now? Okay, we've got two branches here. We've got a branch with a revision there. We're on branch XX, and yeah. So what I'm going to show you now is resetting your branch index. So what we're going to attempt to do is to take our current state and make its index looks like branch YY. So we're on branch XX, and the differences here are so git diff branch YY branch XX. There are quite a few there, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to reset. So just showing the log again. We're on branch XX, but we want our current. We want to preserve our current state in our working directory, but actually we want it to look like branch YY. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go git reset branch YY. Okay, which is great. Git log. And now you can see that branch XX and branch YY are synonyms. In git diff, you can see all of the changes that we saw before. And if I say git commit new changes, this is as though we took all of the changes that were in the other branch and squash them onto the top of the git YY branch. So git log, and now I've got them. Typically, I think what you probably want to do in this circumstance is to first merge the branch that you're going to target in, so that you've only got your own changes. In this case, we're actually rolling back to changes that the state of X, but it's now we're setting these are the changes that would have been required to go from YY to XX. Alright, so that's squashing commits. This destroys your history, so I wouldn't do it lightly. I think that you'd want to do it only on branches that you own and that you knew that nobody else had checked out. Alright, so summing up, I think Git's great. I come from a time before this when there are a lot of different sort of repository products out there. You couldn't just distribute code the way that we can with pull and push, and you can fork a repository now, and that's super easy. You can keep all your history together in one place. Things have improved considerably now that we have Git. which is why it's eaten the world. It's super flexible. You should definitely look up the docs and understand. I think that I got confused just there doing the rebase. So really good idea to look up the documentation about rebase to figure out what I did wrong there. You can certainly get by with some commands like git commit, git branch, pull and push are probably going to be, and merge are probably going to be your staples. But there are also some extra pieces that you can use, and if you know where to find them, then cherry pick and git reset and rebase for that matter. Those will be helpful too. Even knowing that they exist is going to be helpful, because one day you will find yourself in a mess and you'll have the tools to be able to repair it. Anyway, that's all from me this time. Hope you enjoyed it. Happy to have any feedback. So please comment below, like and subscribe to my channel. Hit me up on email. I'll post the links below, or Threads, or Twitter. And thanks for watching.